5 p.m. to 5 a.m. is a great place to start. I would put myself in a position to learn both markets. So if your strategy is not on point in LA, we compare what Tristan has made to what the rest of the world has made. And we're going to use the Solo app, which is also in the description of the video. So Solo app, you just go insights, go to leaderboard, and then you can see that I made $240 last week, and I am not the best driver. I'm the 27th ranked in my city. And of course, this only ranks people who have the app. So that's something to be aware of. And my market's not doing that great. No one cracked above $1,000 on this app, and that's DoorDash, and then Lyft. So the highest like rideshare driver was 658. And if I actually drove and wasn't procrastinating, sure, I could have beaten that. Let's look at jobs real quick. So I like to use this. It gives me like a estimation of where trends heading. Even though I make more than $15 an hour with Lyft, if it's up 6%, then I know that like business is heading in the right direction. Despite the fact that there's people really out here making $15 an hour, I wish they would watch my content and figure out how to make more money. This is still a useful page because it tells me what's in demand, what's not in demand. I've learned just by watching this that Spark, which is Walmart delivery, during holidays and periods where there aren't any traffic, Spark will go to like $40 an hour. So without even having to do it myself, I can say, all right, during the slow season, which is like the holiday seasons in Charleston, I can do Spark and make some pretty good money while I'm waiting for like the students and the tourists to come back. So there's still some usability that you can get out of this, even if their hourly rates don't match up to what your hourly is. It's like I said, the more information you have, the better, which is why I'm upset with Lyft, but it's okay. We're moving on. We're going to go back to the leaderboard. So we can go to all metros right here. And then it'll show us what the top drivers made last week, Sunday, 2028. Here we go. So the top driver, according to this app, is from Las Vegas, Nevada, 3,157, Uber and Lyft. That's pretty good. JL, whoever you are, props to you. I love the hustle. I love it. We got Portland, Oregon afterwards, 2,621. Sacramento, California. I love seeing California in here because people in California say they don't make any money. $2,485. New York, 2,367. Miami, Florida. Love seeing Miami, Florida in here. Miami, Florida, it can be a hit or miss market depending on what you do. It's so like big. You have to like really focus in, have a really good strategy. And so I'm glad to see someone making $2,310 here. Seattle, Washington. Seattle's one of the Seattle, New York, California. They all have like minimum wages kind of in one shape or form or another. So Seattle's an interesting place to watch to see how often people make it on this list. You got Los Angeles, California, $2,169. Seattle again, $2,131. Hawaii making the list with Uber and Lyft, $2,102. I know I had a viewer in here from Hawaii before. I'll check the comments in a second. Between now and then, if you're watching, let me know what city you want me to look up, and I'll look it up. I promised you guys last week that I would look up specific cities, so we can do a couple. All right, so we got like 11 people doing over 2,000. Not that great. If we're gonna be real, it's not that great. Last week we had like people crushing it because they were working through the snowstorm. We could take a quick peek at that. Look at that. $4,668 out of Philadelphia. Newark, 4,477. Worcester, 4,161. So yeah, earnings are overall down. If another storm passes through and you guys think your car is safe to drive, consider it. Don't get into an accident. Make sure you have the proper insurance. Do you, but that's where the money is. The money is in disasters. So, but I would say overall, last week was a bit of a soft week for the whole nation, not making as much, even though I guess everyone's market is different. I can't keep thinking that everyone's market's like mine, but my market's picking up, and it seems as if everywhere else is getting a little softer. So we'll see what happens in February. We'll see what happens for Valentine's week. We'll see if people strike and don't make any money, or people are going to go out there and maximize their income. But let's run over to the comments and see what you guys are up to. Pop out chat. All right. I think that's what it really boils down to. Mike B says, Virginia Beach, please, if you're checking. All right, so let's do a quick look for Virginia Beach. Lyft driver made $1,000. Better than my market, right? You beat my market. I would say this is still a little soft. I'm going to look on a map at where Virginia Beach is. Virginia. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you have a military base close by, right? Hold on. Let me just pull up Google Maps. Yeah, Virginia Beach. Are you able to drive in like Norfolk area? Newport, Richmond. That's a little too far. That is a little too far. Let me see how far that is. Richmond to Virginia Beach. 1 hour 46 minutes. Like, are you able to get rides back and forth frequently enough? Because honestly, what I would probably do, depending on the day, I assume Richmond. All right, instead of assuming, let's pull up Richmond, right? All right, so Richmond drivers are making a little more. So I'd be curious what with Lyft. I know you have the destination filters. I would kind of like, maybe just for weekends, maybe I would use the destination filter, head towards Richmond, do some stuff in Richmond, or maybe it's the weekdays you need to do that. I don't know. I don't know what days you need to do it. I would put myself in a position to learn both markets over time, and kind of figure out when is the best place to be, So like, what time of the year is being in Virginia Beach more profitable than being in Richmond? So that's what I would do there. And then, I would try to find people who routinely make this trip back and forth, because I assume it happens. And if I'm not mistaken, there should be a military base close by. I'm just kind of going off of what people are saying in my head, and I could be misremembering things. But tell me about your strategy in Virginia Beach. Like, when is your off season? When is your on season? Have you driven in Richmond? If you get a passenger from Virginia Beach and you go to Richmond, do you stay in Richmond? Like, tell me a little bit more about your market. Miles says, I assume Vegas is usually in the lead for rideshare earnings. No, it's not. It's usually California. Like, it's usually like, weather aside, it's usually California or New York. It's usually LA, which are the drivers that complain the most. Complain is not the best word. The most vocal riders, and it's probably because cost of living is so high. Even though they are like making the most, they do face a high level of competition. So if your strategy is not on point in LA, you might be getting beat very, very hard, especially if you're an airport driver. Vegas is out of season right now. You have to think about that as well. Like, a lot of tourists aren't going to Vegas around this time of the year. It's usually like towards the spring, towards the summer. And that's probably when it's going to be popping in Vegas. Super Bowl will probably help out. That's in like 2 weeks. But a lot of these places can be seasonal. I also expect Vegas to see a pop when they finish the high-speed train that they're building. It should be done before the Olympics. So what is that, 2028? 6, 8, has to be an 8, 4, 8, 4, 8. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. And I'll be there. I can't wait to move there and be in that market making tax-free dollars. They do have a lot. It is off-season, so we'll be saturated. But I will say, you guys have higher rideshare requirements than where I live, where you have to go and get like registered as a business and do this, do that, and the third. So sometimes when the bar is higher to become a rideshare driver, it limits competition. Archie Johnson says, with 15 years worth of restaurant management experience, I can say that Monday and Tuesdays are the slowest days. I don't work on those days. And further, when it comes to taxi hours, why reinvent the wheel? They work 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 5 p.m. until 5 a.m. And I work 5 p.m. until 5 a.m. That is a great shift. In my market, I wouldn't start at 5 p.m. because traffic is still a little too much. I'd start around 6:30. And then I wouldn't stop at 5 a.m. I'd go until traffic starts, which is around 7 a.m. That way I can get the early morning airport passengers. But you're on point. You want to drive when there are the least amount of cars on the road. 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. is a great place to start until you learn your market. For example, Atlanta, traffic doesn't break apart till like 8 p.m. And that's probably when I would start. So there's some variance to it, but I see where you're going with it, Archie.